Hello, welcome to November 2nd, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video diary exercise that I do at around 5:30 a.m. each morning. I do this from my home here in Japan in order to review my life status relative to the values outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, noting any interesting events that occurred relative to my values. But first, hello, welcome new subscribers. I'm glad to have you on the channel. My name's Kurt. I'm 61 years old, retired American, living here in the Valley of Tea in Shizuoka, near Shizuoka City, Japan. I uh, want to thank you for your for joining me today. You're welcome to watch as I do this journaling exercise. You can leave comments and criticisms as you see fit. I will read those after I get through the main body of this. I want to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for your support. It really means a lot to me. I do talk about sensitive subjects sometimes, so just be forewarned. Okay, let's jump into it. I do have notes from yesterday. Let's begin to review these. Just a heads up, I'm not feeling quite myself. Yesterday was a pretty significant day, more emotional than anything else. It was a very physical day. I went for a long hike yesterday, deep in the mountains. My wife and her sister were out shopping downtown, had the day free, so I took the car and went up to a village that I hadn't been back to in over a decade since I went back to America in 2014. And that experience really took a lot out of me. So I'm a little bit out of it this morning. So I may go a little bit quickly, but I want to cover the important stuff. Interestingly, the note that I have here for the last 24 hours has nothing to do directly with the experience in the mountains, although I will talk about that. But I can hear Ollie coming outside. Hold on, let me open the door here. Sometimes he can hear me talk and he wants to come join. Here you come, Ollie. Come on in, Ollie. Come on. Ever so slowly. Come on in. You want to come in? Come in. Come on, Ollie. There we go. Okay, he'll probably hop up on the sofa. So, like I said, big day yesterday. Very physically taxing and emotionally taxing, but that's not the main event. But I will tell you what I did yesterday. But if you want to see details, watch the today's retiring in Japan. Yeah, there's a retiring in Japan upload today, which is like an hour and 20 minutes long video documentary of the experience yesterday. A very different retiring in Japan. But here's the thing. I went to a village way up in the mountains that I hadn't been to, like I said, in over 10 years. And I knew what I would find, which is basically um, everyone dead and gone. You know, I used to go up there. It was an embarkation point. Think of it as like the base camp for a lot of my old softypapa 1.0 adventures. And I came to know a handful of oldsters that lived up there, as well as one dog. And I was the first time back. Believe it or not, it took me 11 months to get back there. Since I returned, maybe partially because I knew that when I got there, eventually I would what I would find, which is basically an empty village. There are a few people still remaining, uh, but none of the people that I knew from the past are there anymore. And that was a shocker. Even though I knew it was coming, it was like going to it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like you know what's coming, but still it's a shock when it happens. I can't think of a good way to describe it otherwise, but you get the idea. And the shock kind of stuck with me for the whole afternoon. So the note that I have here, and again, you can see that you can have the whole experience if you watch that video that will be uploaded and available on my channel later today, later this morning, within a couple of hours. The thing was, that wasn't the thing about the note. Everything went fine. I didn't have any problems out there. I kept in balance. I had a good time. I mean, I was really just you know, it wasn't nothing challenged me. Even in the moment of seeing these empty houses and such, the nothing challenged me. It wasn't until I got home in the evening and I rejoined my wife and we began our evening activities of dinner over at Yoko's house and the evening dog walk that I realized that I wasn't myself. I was moody and quiet, sullen, sober and somber. Uh, and I didn't want my wife or Yoko to think that it had anything to do with them or the fact that they had gone downtown without me. So that wasn't the issue at all. I enjoyed having a little bit of free time to, sometimes I just want to go sister stuff, right? I enjoyed having the chance to go out into the mountains. I just wasn't recovering. I was shocked by the emptiness of it all out there. And so I began to use my creed, which is the reason I do this every day. The, for those of you that are new, this exercise is not about story time. It's not for me to tell you or anybody about what happened yesterday. It's to talk about what happened relative to how I handled the challenging bits. Handling the challenging bits are important, so that I gave you enough information to know the context is key. You know what happened now. The, in the evening, though, I began to exercise when I realized that I was kind of, my emotions were getting ahead of me, kind of smothering my engagement with my family. I used reason. I used temperance to control myself, as always, and then I used reason to come up with a plan, which is to talk to Yoko and my wife Yumiko about my day and let them know that I had I was kind of moved and moody about it all, and so that they understood that it had nothing to do with them or the way that the day unfolded. And I did all of that. Didn't correct my mood. I still felt, and it's a very healthy mood. I mean, you know, if you're going to feel out of sorts, it's good to feel out of sorts for very, very good reason. I mean, I had a human and emotional experience yesterday, the type of thing that resonates deeply for the rest of my life. I mean, there were moments yesterday and thoughts that I had and sights that I saw that, I just lingered and captured a lot of it on the camera, but a lot of it I didn't, especially when I finished the adventure and I turned back and spent a lot of time walking back and thinking. Anyway, so I handled it well. I give myself a 5 out of 5 for that. Recognized the emotion, tempered it down to make sure that it didn't affect anybody adversely, used reason to come up with a plan. Oh, and then you can smatter in all kinds of, you know, well, life will not go well, hashtag life will not go well, and hashtag the horror show with regard to the residue and the afterglow of the emptiness and the death, practically, that to just say it bluntly, that I saw yesterday. Okay, enough about yesterday. My creed consists of, like I said, I'm still feeling it this morning. I'm not myself. And so I'm going to wrap this up quickly and lay down. So I've got a fun day ahead and I want to have my energy. So that was yesterday. As for the creed, it consists of 8 objectives. Seems like I'm racing through this every day, but that's my prerogative. To be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions relative to my values, to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully, and to keep my balance. For my principle that I'll read today, I'm going to read the principle of the bullseye aim, which is on page 273 of the hardbound edition of Going Alone. You can read this on goingalone.org. Just click on the link titled Read the Book. The bullseye aim is just like it sounds, shooting for the mark. Our best ambition is to achieve our goals and objectives to the extent that we can feel our effort is complete. That is often a pretty high mark, even with a pessimist saying. The fact is, we frequently fall short, well short, or at least short enough to cause us to bluster or regret that we ever tried. For myself, I will be satisfied if I have made a good and honest effort. there's really otherwise no time there is really otherwise no time to lose. You get the idea, right? The expectation that when we try, we're likely to rarely hit the mark square on with our expectations. More often than not, we'll be off by a bit, sometimes a lot, sometimes pretty close, sometimes we'll get her square on. That should be the exception, not the expected norm. That's the key. Recognizing that hitting the objective squarely is the rarity. Boy, I just realized something. The situation that I'm facing back home is a direct consequence of never even taking a shot. Never even lifting the bow. My friend here, uh, yeah, he does kudo, Japanese archery, every Thursday. Every Thursday, he's retired as well, and we talk on. I see him at morning exercise, and he tells me that kudo is not about hitting the mark, Kurt. It's about the form, the execution. As so many things in Japan are. Tea ceremony is less about the tea and more about the ceremony. So too with the bullseye aim, right? Maybe it's the very act of taking a shot. And I'm realizing now that many people never even take a shot for fear of missing the mark or of having poor form, and so they hedge their bets with inaction. That's exactly what is the cause of the situation that I am dealing with back home, which is weighing heavily on my mind. I mean, way heavy on my mind. I'm starting to realize just how heavy it is. It's always on my mind now. It's a result of the individual in question never even attempting to take a shot. Interesting. There's a lot mixed up in that, but I won't explore that here because it touches too closely on someone else's life. As for today, it's some festival day in downtown Shizuoka. It's Daidoge, which is the festival of street performers. We're going to go. There's also the flea market today, the antique flea market. We're going to go to that as well. Um, I'm going to finish up here, finish uploading the video, and then I'm going to take a nap or something to rest and try to get some energy ahead of all that. I'm just not myself. Maybe I should step outside and take a walk. That might be a good idea. Sometimes a little hair of the dog, right? Okay, let's read comments. Robert says hello to myself. Hi, Robert. Tim says good morning. Weather check for the UK at 8:35 p.m. is 6 degrees Celsius and 97% humidity. Interesting. Heavy showery day. A very literary description there. Here, Tim, it's 10 degrees and it looks like about 85% humidity. Interesting. A heavy showery day. I like that. It's something Dr. Johnson might have said. I just like the combination of the word of heavy and showery. Tim says hi to Robert. Robert says hi to Tim. Robert says currently 43 degrees Fahrenheit, 61% humidity, and an AQI air quality of 19 in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. Nice. Elvina, hi Elvina. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I love your salutation. Evelyn, hi Evelyn. Says hi to myself, Robert, and Tim, with a lovely exclamation mark. Elvina says hello to Tim and myself. Oh, no, sorry, that's Robert. No, myself. Tim says hi to Elvina and Evelyn. Robert says hi to Elvina and Evelyn. Evelyn says hi to Elvina. Elvina says hello to Evelyn. And we're like the Waltons here, right? Hello, Jim Bob. Hello, Joe Bob. Hello, Grandpa. I love it. You guys are great. Tim says, the days when I'm not myself is when I reach for the guitar and lose myself and thoughts drift. Me too. I find myself doing that more and more. Tim, I did something yesterday for the very first time. I brought my guitar, my lovely $3 guitar, with me into the mountains. And when I was all done with the hike, I went by the river and I sat on a rock and I just strummed away under the surrounded by nature. I loved it. It was so much fun. Something I probably never would have done in America. I had a very nice Ovation guitar, a very expensive guitar that I inherited from my father. And I would never have thought of taking that Ovation out into the mountains, but with my $3 guitar, sure thing. And that was really fun. And I can't believe how much time I spend on the guitar. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that I'm not retired. Although I don't always just do it when I'm not myself. I do it to pass the time, and I do it because it's really fun. But I do it also sometimes when I'm not myself. Or maybe that is myself, but I'm not the self that I want to be. Try to squeeze myself into being. I guess maybe that's part of what hashtag temperance should be about, and hashtag nature, and recognizing the nature of things, and hashtag not well, things life will not go well, is to maybe just be rest at ease with the fact that I'm sometimes not myself. Like I'm not myself right now for all the right reasons. Sarah says good morning to all. Hi, Sarah. Tim says hi to Sarah. Robert says hi to Sarah. Sarah says hi to Tim and Robert with a wave. Sarah says, go gently today, Kurt. Hope you're okay. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, I had a very emotional day yesterday with an experience, an adventure in the mountains yesterday, encountering the emptiness of a village that once it was peopled with people, with folks that I knew who were all dead and gone, and the dog too. It was very emotional. Tim says walk is always a good idea. Why I do it daily as is good for the natural health. I agree. Maybe I will take a walk after this. There's no radio exercise today, but I can still go out. Um, Evelyn says, thanks for repeating our greetings. Very sweet. It sounds nice. It comes, I love repeating all your greetings. It's kind of brings in my mind, I can almost hear your voices. Tim says, I do the same with with my acoustic, Kurt. More so in the garden, though. Wished I had something more rural on my doorstep. Ah. Sarah says, I love that you played your guitar by the river, grounded yourself in nature can be so healing. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, Sarah, that if you watch today's Retiring in Japan episode, which I don't wonder if anyone will get to the end, it's an hour and 20 minutes long. I went back and got my camera. I had so much fun playing by the river. I got my camera and captured closed the video with a strum by the water, but I couldn't be right by the water because river water the sound of the river was so deafening that you couldn't hear the guitar. So I went and sat on the ground by the truck. Not quite the same, but I tried to convey the same sense of closure in the day. Although little did I know that that day would not close with any ease at all. Elvina says, maybe reaching for the guitar is a form of meditation. I think you're right. Okay, everybody. Well, it's only 17 minutes in, but I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, yesterday took it all out of me. I got a big day ahead of me as well. I'm going to sign off and wish you all the very best. Wish you be safe, but not too safe, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Tim says, creating music or playing an instrument can be very mind cleansing. I agree. And Robert says, thank you, Kurt. Bye all. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.